everyone, it's Pauline from Stampin' Stampede and Stamp with Pauline. So what I'm going to show you today is I got the layering alphabet Edgelit dies in my order this month. So what I wanted to show you is how to actually use them and give you a few tips on how things I've come across that make it a little bit tricky to use, or things that might help you to get the most out of this so it's not so frustrating. So the first tip when you get this is use your heat gun to slightly dissolve some of that heat of that sticky tape. The tip here is because you don't want to actually bend any of these dies. If you bend them, they won't go on the cutting mat properly and you'll have them bowing. So that's my first tip, is get all those off. Second tip for this set is to actually write the letter on them. So I've turned them over onto the cutting side, and if you wanted to, before you actually even took that off this sheet, take it off this sheet, you can write on here what letter there's a couple of sheets that it comes with. So that's the first tip, is heat them up, write on them. Second thing what you want to do is I actually created a couple of templates for it, and the small one is measuring 12 centimeters by 6.3 centimeters. So this is the size card piece it is, and the reason it's cut to that size is so it lines up on your base card, and this base card is 10 centimeters by 14.8 centimeters. It's not quite a half an A5 size for a layer. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm putting this onto here. So you'll notice that the tip to the tip finishes. There is another size, which I'll do in another video so that we don't get overwhelmed with too many sizes. So I'm going to be spelling out the word happy, and then I'm going to put birthday on here. So this is how this one goes. The next thing that I did was I actually cut a bunch of cardstock in this size. I picked the two colors that I wanted to use for this happy, because if you make mistakes, it saves you getting up, and then this will be all here for future reference, and I can always come back to it. So I've got my template put aside, and then all I did was just cut 2 sheets of A4 cardstock into this 12 centimeters by 6.3 centimeters. So I have them here ready to go to use. So the thing you need to do with the die, the next tip is to make sure you use the magnetic platform. Use a brand new cutting mat. I tried it with using one that was ever so slightly bowed, and this framelit doesn't actually stick to it. Sorry, this edgelet doesn't actually stick to it very well, and it can bow and move around. You could probably use a bit of washi tape or some post-it note to stick them down in case. So I will try it, but the tip with it was to actually use this magnetic platform. So once you get the die in alignment, the problem with your magnetic platform is if you accidentally dropped it or moved it, sometimes the magnets have shifted inside the plate. So that makes it a bit tricky. When you look at this die, it's got 2 points on it. There's 2 little notches, and then on either side, and then there's also a larger single notch. The single notch we'll do later, because that's another template with another die going the other way. So we'll do that later. So what you want to do, line this up. So this is the 12 centimeters by 6.3, lining up the edge here, popping in the die, and the top cutting mat doesn't matter so much. So if it's a bowed, well-used cutting mat, it doesn't matter. So you're going to take this out, and then what you get is it cuts for you this edge. Pop my die just to the side. Going to move all this out. You've got your negative, so you can actually redo it, but I have noticed when I've used this, it's leaving quite indentations on the other part of the die. So because each big shot is sort of calibrated a little bit different, and some will squish a little bit harder than others. So I will be trying to see whether or not I can get rid of those lines and maybe not have it squished down so hard in the sandwich. So once you've got that, just move all these out of the way. And what I have spelt out is my word happy. So I've got my base, and I'm going to now put down the H and then the A and then the P, and I will get my Tombow glue to stick down all of this. And then lastly, if I can pick it up, is the Y. Just trying to make them evenly spaced apart. Now the next option you can do with this is cut it down to make it smaller so you didn't have such a big layer. Leave it the size it is. This will fit onto your base card. Add your birthday, add some balloons, whatever you like. So that's the first thing you're going to do with this die. Nice and simple and easy. And once you've got these letters off this sheet and written on, I would also recommend putting them onto a magnetic adhesive sheet or a magnetic piece of adhesive or something, because that way then they're not going to fly around and roll around in your packet. So yeah, just some magnetic backing would be great for this as well. All right, hope that was helpful. Hope it gets you started. Good luck.